Well, you got to keep in mind that my dad was a coach when me and Tony moved to Lawton, 1984. I was in the second. My brother was in the third grade, but our dad was coaching Owen Park basketball. That's how I met people like Ronnie Dixon, Greg Patrick, just to name a few. Uh, people like Rico Davis, Sean Payne, uh, Brian Banks. Who else kind of stuck out? Brian Banks. But anyway, few people from over there, from that part of the wood, part of that, you know, neighborhood over there. But my dad was a coach at Owen, and that's how I met people like them. Uh, Dixon went on to be a figure, what I'm saying, for neighborhood. So, uh, that's a legend. I will give him that. And then my dad started coaching, maybe send the Mustangs football team. And back then they was called the Mustangs before they was called the Bulldogs. And my dad was the head coach there. And that's how, met people like Pookie Loke, had a little brother named Michael Williams. Their dad was the assistant coach. Him and my dad was real good friends. And their dad was assistant coach for my dad. And we would give them ride homes after practice. Michael was younger than me, like by a year or two, I want to say, but Pookie was like my brother's age or a year older. But they played. He played with my brother Mustangs. But people like them stuck out during my fourth grade year, meeting them. Shout out to Carl Big Los. Big Los, I played football with him. My brother's homeboy. You know, went on to be a figure. What I'm saying, for Hoover, and so shout out to Big Los. Him and my brother was cool. But yeah, me and Big Los played football together for the Navy Center. And so when my dad was a coach, my dad was coaching. Keep the Gaines is play. I played with the Gaines, Corey Gaines. Me and him was football teammates at the Mustangs, fourth grade. That's how I was, built relationship with them. Uh, they end up being Bloods, staying across from Burnham Manor. So that's another reason why I didn't bang, because I knew people before they was gang members. So before they was really actually Bloods and Crips here in Tulsa. So that's why I really never got into gang banging, because I was so cool with you know original Blood member. They Rip Boys, Bloods. My relative Terry Brown, original Blood, original Rip Boy, like so. And he told me that too when I was in the fifth grade. He told me you can't call me cousin no more. You got to call me relative. So can't use cousin. You can't call Bloods cousins. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, yeah, man. Me and Tony moved here from Lawton in '84, and even in Lawton we was part of a breakdancing crew, and we wore red. You know what I'm saying? So that was our. And I had to figure out a signature move because Tony and his homeboy Ricky didn't want me. They didn't. I was just trying to hang around my big brother. They had a breakdancing group, so uh, in order for me to join, I had to come up with a signature move. You know what I'm saying? So then I end up being able to backspin, you know what I'm saying? So I could backspin the longest out of everybody, so they let me be a part of the group. So, in Lawton, they had a game room. We would break cardboards up, make them flat. That's the best thing to break dance on, because when you're spinning around on the ground, you spin faster. When you're doing the windmill, got to have cardboard down when you break dancing. So always remember that. And, so when we get to Tulsa, you know what I'm saying, it was already it was new to us, but it was easy transition because our dad was a coach. He coached Carver girls, Carver Middle School. He coached the girls' sixth grade basketball team. So we met a lot of girls growing up. Being with my dad. So, uh, but around all this time, I'm starting to become like a little celebrity. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to school and I'm and and my brother kind of started distancing himself away from me. You know what I'm saying? Because he's starting to get off in the streets and stuff. So uh, he didn't want me around that. So, but I could be standing at the bus stop going to school, and the next thing you know, hey Dominic, what's up, man? Where your brother at? What Tony at? And I was like, damn, how do you know me? He was like, so these are all the little gangsters that's coming up. You know what I'm saying? Young, they're starting to make a name for themselves. Hitters. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I started noticing. Okay, my brother is really out here. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of dudes, respect him because it wasn't it wasn't really no. First of all, it wasn't no Crips in the neighborhood. It was all Bloods. And my brother's best friend was Fat Fred on Cheyenne on Cincinnati, across the street from Ben Hill. So Fat Fred was a major recruiter for all the Bloods, and him and my brother was they used to steal cars together, get into trouble together all the time. Beating dudes up all the time. You know what I'm saying? My brother was never a Blood. You know what I'm saying? He was just that was where all the action was, because wasn't nobody in the neighborhood doing nothing. Wasn't nobody in our neighborhood doing nothing. Fat Fred's house was the house if he was active as far as doing thuggish ass shit. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, it was a guy named Thomas Johnson. He used to walk up the street all the time in front of my grandma's house. He was real swole. I admired him. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to always say, if I can get his size, because he was real big and stocky like Tookie Williams. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Tookie Williams in California. From California, started the Crips or whatever. But he was big like that. You know what I'm saying? So I used to always say, if I can get like him, I can beat up my brother. Because see, me and my brother used to fight all the time, but I could never whoop him. So I used to always say, if I can get Thomas's size, I'd be able to get my brother. So every time I seen Thomas come up the street, he would walk up Cheyenne and walk past my grandmother's house. I would run in the house and do like 50 push-ups. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I got to get like Thomas. I got to get like Thomas. You know what I'm saying? So, that's a major, that's a original Rip Boy, Thomas Johnson. Shout out to him. I used to look up to him because he had the size. He was on swole. You know what I'm saying? But, you would hear little stuff too, because, he would get into it with dudes. I'm here, my brother would get into it with dudes and stuff. And, my brother used to date a girl named Shamika. She had cousins, uncles, or whatever. Caleb and Daryl and all them. So my brother would fight with them. While he was going, because he'd be over Shamika's house, and so my brother used to always tell me he would get in, him and Caleb C-Dub from Neighborhood would get into it. One of the originals from Neighborhood, and they didn't want Tony dating Shamika, but that didn't stop nothing. But anyway, yeah. So that's how it went for me. I had a homeboy named Michael. I used to walk over his house sometimes, and he had an older brother named Reggie, and they homeboys used to be standing out front of the house, and they was Bloods. Eric, and I can't forget the other dude. I forgot the other dude's name. But so this is how I'm meeting people. I knew legends, I knew originals, you know what I'm saying? So I never got off into banging because I knew a bunch of original Bloods, I knew a bunch of original Crips. I played football with these dudes, basketball. My dad coached them. Like, I had a lot of love for dudes, so I never got off into the being mad at him because he wearing a different color than I like. You know what I'm saying? So. But yeah, I became like a little celebrity. You know what I'm saying? I became like a little celebrity. Everybody knew my brother. All the gangsters would walk up on me while I'm on the bus stop, and you know what I'm saying. And that made me feel good. Like, damn, like these dudes know me. Like, they know my brother. Talking highly of him, and they see I'm like everybody knew they can, if they with me, ain't nothing gonna happen because everybody knew me. Everybody knew who my brother was. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Tony Brown. But yeah, that's how it went for me. Rest in peace to all the fellas I named that's passed away, like Pookie Loke, Fat Fred, my brother's homeboy, and on some real shit, Fat Fred was a major Blood recruiter on Cincinnati. That's I'm telling you. I'm telling you. If Fat Fred would have never moved out the neighborhood, I think the Bloods would have took over because he had 20, 30 people hanging in front of his house every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? And this is kind of how my brother built up his name because he's over there beating up all his friends. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, people used to think my brother was a Blood, but he wasn't. He should just like to wear the color because he said that he's just looking for a reason to fight somebody. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. Yeah, man. I could take y'all back, man. You know, so uh, take y'all back. I was there when everything started, and I tell you how it molded out. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, hey, you want to call me grandfather? Call me grandfather, cause I got the stories. I got the stories. Holla.